This is episode 42 of Pinnacle FC. 42. We're in the month of May. Incredible. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you, about to run down and run through the weekend that will be across European football's top domestic leagues. Recording this on a Wednesday morning where I am in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Beautiful Manchester, England is where Jake is sitting. This is ahead of PSG as he looks at the window. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
It's 17 degrees, which is fine for me.
Beautiful. It's gone over the 20-degree mark here where I am. So spring has finally sprung. And we're sitting here before PSG Arsenal, the semifinal tie in the Champions League. We should share a remark about Barcelona Inter. 3-3 in the first leg, 3-3 in the second leg, and a Fratesi winner in extra time pushes Inter through to the Champions League final. Poor position for me to be in, having Barcelona futures, but good on you getting in on Inter while you could, and Jay is still sitting on a potential winning Champions League ticket.
Hopefully, yeah. I didn't quite envisage being like that. I thought if Inter were going to get past Barca, it'd be like a 1-0 over 2 legs, that kind of thing. I didn't think they'd outscore them, but fair play. They really did try and expose that Barcelona high line. I think they had 8 offsides in the second leg, which was just insane, and they're all just coming from trying to just take advantage of the space Barcelona were giving them. So, yeah, they had a go. They went tooth and nail, and they came out on top. It wasn't looking likely, was it? After the 90th minute, I thought, oh, this is it, curtains. But good old centre-half up front, something we've been discussing a lot on this podcast. Get Harry Maguire up there, get a Cherby up there, just cause chaos. You just don't know. Do it more, please.
It's the path to victory for England. The 2 Harrys up top, Maguire and Kane. And they led with Maguire for a reason. It's Barcelona. I mean, its timing is everything, kind of. You lose your 2 fullbacks. Lewandowski not entirely fit, and he comes on and they concede that 3rd goal in stoppage time. Just not meant to be. But, I mean, Barcelona, the way this team is constructed, there's still very good days ahead for Barcelona in multiple competitions. We're going to get into Barcelona, Real Madrid. It's another El Clásico this weekend with title implications written all over it. A big fixture, at least for Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga as well. And we'll see what there is to play in the Premier League and Serie A as well. By the way, if you ended up tailing my Serie A plays last weekend, then good for you. Overall, I made 8 bets. The board just lined up for me. I shared them all on this podcast. 4 winners, 1 loss, 1 half loss, 1 half win for a profit of 3.14 units. It's been good in terms of our podium plays for me this season. But last week in Serie A, it was a banner edition, a banner weekend. This weekend is going to be very quiet for me in Italian football. Let's start off as we do in the Premier League this weekend. The big one is Liverpool-Arsenal, I guess, just in terms of 1 versus 2. But really, the game doesn't mean anything. So when I say big one, I mean the 2 best teams play one another. But it's not even on my radar, in fairness. I don't have a play in that game. I'm not sure if you have a play there. You prefer to start elsewhere, Jake?
When I did my notes literally about 2 hours ago, Liverpool were plus 123 to win the match. They're now plus 104. So there's been a huge move in their favour. And that was going to be my bet. I was going to put Liverpool up to win. Probably still is a small bit of value there, but I'm going to leave that alone. And I think if I was pressed for a bet in this one, I would actually look at opposing cards. The line at Pinnacle's 3.5. It's at minus 109 for under 3.5 bookings. And it's just because there's not a lot to play for. Obviously, as you've discussed, Arsenal's matches in general have been fairly low cards of late. The last 3 have seen just 2, 2 and 1 cards in the Premier League. And the referee is Anthony Taylor, who is one of my favourite referees, probably of all time, just because he is extremely lenient when he wants to be. I think he's had 6 or 7 no-card games this season. And he was back at it last week with just 2 cards in the United-Brentford game, another one that's not too much riding on it. So that would be a bet under 3.5 bookings at minus 109.
The only story in the Premier League really is teams jockeying, competing for European football next season. Do your bets this week in the Premier League revolve around that? You can take us away. By the way, all the markets that we use are courtesy of Pinnacle, BetSmart, Bet Pinnacle. I'll let you take it away in whichever direction you please, and I'll tag on and add my limited plays this week as well.
Cool, yeah. It's not quite a 8-match takeover like Gareth last week, but I've got 6 for the Prem.
6?
Yeah.
Does that include the Liverpool Arsenal?
Yeah, that's included. Okay. So I've got 5 more to come. But I think we've just got to focus on the games that have got quite a lot at stake. They are difficult matches. The 2 I'm looking at, Newcastle, Chelsea, Bournemouth, Villa, they're difficult matches to kind of pick a winner. Newcastle plus 115 at home to Chelsea did interest me because Chelsea's record against the top 7 away from home, they've lost all 4 of those matches. But again, I'm going to the bookings because I think there's value to be had in that market because we've got a really good appointment. John Brooks is the man in the middle. He's averaged 5 cards per game across all competitions this season, and he's actually up at 5.3 cards per game in the Prem. Obviously, the stakes are incredibly high. It's 4th versus 5th. I mean, a draw could suit both, depending on what Nottingham Forest do, but obviously you don't want to take any chances. And Newcastle's home matches averaged 5.24 cards per game. Chelsea's away matches 5.6 cards per game. So you've got 2 really good teams in terms of cards in matches. And if you'd back this bet blind over the course of the season, you would have had a winner in 65% of Newcastle home matches and 65% of Chelsea away matches. So I think 2 great teams for cards, a very good referee appointment, stakes extremely high. I could see this boiling over. And I just thought the over 4.5 at minus 126 looks a cracking bet.
Nothing for me there. I was looking at Newcastle, Joelinton. I believe he's out. Nothing for me in that game. I'll just leave it at that. Save our time here. You mentioned Bournemouth Villa. Did you say you had a play there as well?
Yeah, again, same. I'm sticking with the bookings for these first 3 because I just think that there's a little bit of juice there. The line's a little bit lower for this one at 4, which obviously means if there's 4 cards, you get your money back. Any more than that, you get a winner. Minus 136. Stuart Atwell in charge. 4.1 cards per game this season. This bet has only lost in 41% of his matches across the Premier League this season. So you've either had a winner or a push in the other 59%. Again, stakes extremely high. Bournemouth are chasing 8th, which we think is going to be that final European spot. Villa chasing the top 5. Bournemouth home matches are over 5 cards per game. This bet has made money 47% of the time and pushed 24% of the time in those home matches. Villa away matches, 4.5 cards per game. Bet winning 41% of the time, pushing 30% of the time. So you're only losing money. If you back this blind, you're only losing money in 29% of both teams' respective home and away matches this season. So I'll happily have another go on that because Villa are very capable of pulling out the dark arts. Bournemouth are a high-pressing team in general. And Villa have a lot of slippery players, so I do expect a lot of cards here. Stuart Atwell and John Brooks are both going to be very, very busy this weekend.
Just want to mention the total in this game quickly. I might end up doing a half play. No real conviction, but there's reason to have conviction. The total at 3 at even money is decent, or you can do what I've done, like it did Barcelona-Inter for games where you think there's going to be goals. You can play Bournemouth over a goal and a half at minus 101 and or Villa over a goal and a half at plus 121. Bournemouth, both teams to score has played in 8 of 10, and both teams to score has played in 5 of their last 6 at home. Villa have hit the over 2.5 in 9 of their last 10 and hit 3 or more in their last 6 in all competitions. By the way, head-to-head, both teams to score has played in the last 3, 6 out of 8 overall, and over in 6 out of 8 overall. The high-pressing Bournemouth side against that slippery Aston Villa side that Jake alludes to. This one has goals written all over it. I'm not fully committed to it, but that is my strong lean there. Okay, what else do you have on your card this weekend?
Well, I think we're probably going to be in agreement with this one. Southampton versus Manchester City. City win to 0, plus 122. That price looks way too big for me. I mean, Southampton just failed to score against Leicester, who are probably the second worst defensive team in the league, behind themselves. So
it's cursing them too. Oh.
We can't really expect them to score against City. They didn't even threaten much either. They generated just 0.53 expected goals in that match. It was actually Leicester's best defensive performance based on expected goals over the entire season. They are bad. They've scored just 12 goals in 17 home games. They've failed to score in 7 of those. And Man City playing with way more control. We saw it last week against Wolves, they never looked like they were going to lose that game. Never looked like they were going to concede. It's been that way for a while now. And if you look across the last 7 matches in all competitions where they have looked much more solid, they've failed to score only once, but have kept 6 clean sheets. They've conceded just 3 times in those 7 matches and failed to score just once. Average 1.9 expected goals for and 0.99 expected goals against per game. So I think this is probably, I don't want to be too superly confident about it, but I'm very confident that Man City are going to win this one quite comfortably without conceding, because they've looked much better in terms of organisation.
I won't talk anyone off it. Southampton are at home, and they've picked up and scored a lot of useless goals on the season. Honestly, both teams have scorers played in an incredible amount of Southampton games, but just not when you want it to. I just needed one more goal in the Leicester City Southampton stinkfest last week to win, to have a clean sweep on my podium place. I was hoping that Jamie Vardy's moment where he blew the referee's whistle, that would count, because that was just sheer brilliant. It was better than a goal, to be honest, in that game. But yeah, they didn't deliver, so I'm going to oppose Southampton there. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to leave it alone. But who I will oppose is Leicester City. They scored twice against Southampton, putting a streak of 9 at home without a goal to bed. It also ended a streak of no wins in 12 and no clean sheets in 30. Thank you very much, Southampton. But does it really count? Like, if a tree falls in a forest, it's Southampton. I just don't think it matters. They're playing Nottingham Forest, who have slid down to 6th place in the Premier League. This is a must-win if they want to really stay in the mix for Champions League football. And what does Nottingham Forest do better than anyone else? Just defend, especially at home. Nottingham Forest to win to nil at plus 125, that is a cracking bet for me. So it's kind of using the same logic as you, opposing a really bad team that struggles to score. Look, Nottingham Forest lost to nil their last 2 games at home, but beat United City both 1-0 the 2 before that. Their 13 goals scored or conceded at home is a joint fewest with Liverpool in the Premier League, and their expected goals against is 5th best. Leicester City stinks. We all know that. They lost to 0 in 4 of the last 5 away. They've just scored 16 and 17 away, which is the 3rd worst, and 15.96 expected goals against, courtesy of our friends at Understat, is the worst by over an expected goal. And by the way, Nottingham Forest won this fixture. Beat Leicester City already this season 2-0. So Nottingham Forest win to nil at plus 125. I think it's a really good bet there. Sorry to jump in there, Jake. Just the Southampton-Leicester City theme. It was a good jumping off spot for me. Okay, continue on.
Do you want to take on Ipswich as well while you're at it? Just keep hacking all the bottom 3.
Again, this is a firm play for me, but I'm leaning over in this game as they take on Brentford, because Brentford, the last 3 games, 4 goals scored, 2 goals scored, 4 goals scored, with a big XG, 3.59 against the second, United side. Ipswich Town can't keep a clean sheet. No clean sheet in 17. They've gone over in their last 7, and they've conceded 2 or more in 6 of 7. They've conceded 40 goals at home. That's incredible. And they have 10 absences as well. Leif Davis is out. 10 players. It's a depleted side for Kieran McKenna as well. So I'm leaning to the over. It's just not a great number at minus 114 over 3. But that would be my play if I was to make one.
Yeah, that's where I'd be leaning as well, but I don't have anything in this one. I think Brentford are a little bit too short at minus 156. Unpredictable at this time of the season, isn't it? Especially when Ipswich have actually shown a bit compared to Southampton that they are capable. So,
by the way, they also played to a 4-3 this season as well. It was a goal fest in that game.
Yeah.
So there was 4 first half goals. And Brentford in that game put it up an XG of 4.1. So, yeah, that would be my strong lean. Okay, continue on, Jake.
2 more. Everton at Fulham.
I got to bet in this game as well. I'm curious which direction you're going.
I know that they blew a lead last week against Ipswich, but I think that we've just got to back them to avoid defeat at Fulham, because Fulham, I think the wheels have fallen off big time. They've been hard to get a read on, but even so, over the course of the season, just 7 home wins. They've failed to win 12 of their 17 home matches. They've failed to win 10 of their 17 home matches. So, I mean, how can you be backing a team at minus 116 that does it like that? And obviously Everton, under Moyes, they've lost just 2 of the 7 away matches, and they've come against Liverpool and Chelsea, so 2 of the current top 5. 3 wins in those 7s as well, and continues to be very difficult to beat. And we've said for a while now that their underlying process is very, very, very good. It's mid-table-ish level. It's probably similar to what Fulham are putting up. So I think we should get them on side here. And I just think that they should have won last week, but the games are counting down at Goodison Park. I wonder if emotionally it's getting the better of them in those kind of games, whereas away from home, it's a little bit less pressure and they are giving better performances and obviously picking up better results. Maybe that's just a potential thought. So yeah, I'm looking at getting them on side against Fulham, who they were really poor against Villa, really poor. Like it was a must. They had to get a result in that game, and they just never looked like they were even trying really. So yeah, I'm happy to back Everton.
But they're still okay defensively. Listen, the last 2 meetings at Craven Cottage between these two sides ended 0-0, and I'm fine with that playing out this time around as well. It's one of my favorite bets of the week. Everton under half a goal, so to not score at plus 153. I mean, Fulham, say what you will, they're the 3rd best team at home in terms of expected goals against at 18.68. Only Liverpool and Arsenal are better in that category. And you're right, I think they've lost their legs from an attacking perspective, but defensively they're still well organized. And I just question whether Everton's going to be capable of breaking them down. Everton have only scored 12 away goals all season long. That is the fewest in the Premier League. 17.4 XG is moderately better, but still it's the 3rd worst expected goals away from home. Only better than Southampton and Leicester City. 3 away goals scored in their last 5 games and never more than 1 in a game. And who's been largely their biggest threat? It's been James Tarkowski on set pieces, and he's out for the season through injury. So at plus 153, I think that there's great value there. Everton to fail to score at Fulham at plus 153. What's your final play? I wonder if it's the same game. Is it Spurs Palace?
No.
Okay, we got to talk about that, but go ahead.
No, it's Wolves Brighton. Wolves on my handicap just screaming my name because I think Brighton are just one of those teams at the minute. I think you just have to fade. Like they've one of the last 5 away matches they've won, and that was against Southampton, and everybody beat Southampton. So they basically win this in 4 away matches. 3 defeats in that time. They conceded 15 times. Obviously, that includes the 7 at the City Ground. But against all 4 competent teams that they played against in that run, they've conceded at least twice. So I've been looking at Wolves to score twice, maybe at plus 140. Just 6 away wins all season as well. So to get Wolves on side, and the market has moved. It was a quarter of a goal at minus 124. It's now minus 132 for that plus a quarter. The line is now around 0, draw no bet. I'll take that. That's fine. Plus 109. Very, very strong team at the minute, Wolves. They're very difficult to break down. They limited City very well, 0.7 XG in that game. Didn't create much in that one, but prior to that defeat, they'd won 6 straight, won 4 of the last 6 at home. They've scored 12 times in that period, and I think they're just looking at a very, very well-organised, competent Premier League team, which is something that I don't think either of us saw coming maybe 6-7 months ago. So yeah, credit where it's due. Vitor Pereira, excellent appointment. Some good business in January as well. And they look like they could be in a good position next year to maybe kick on and challenge for the European places if they can keep some of the players.
No Cunha. Looks like he's going to land with the great Manchester United. Let's talk Spurs Palace quickly. The line has shifted down a little bit, but explain to me how you can get Crystal Palace to beat Spurs at plus 153. Even on the draw no bet, the 0 handicap, it's gone out to minus 112, which is absolutely playable for me. Spurs are crap. They're playing in the Arctic Circle on Thursday. They're 17th, Spurs are, in the form table over the last 10 at 2-2-6 with 20 goals conceded. The only 20 goals conceded, the only 3 sides that are worse in that category are the 3 relegated sides. They're 1-1-5 in their last 7 in the Premier League, and their only win came against Southampton. As for Palace, I'm thinking that the market or the bookmakers are thinking this might be a little bit of a look-ahead game because they play in the FA Cup final next Saturday against Man City, but that's 6 days away. Like their top players are going to have to play in this game, or it's going to be 2 weeks between fixtures. I just don't think that Robin Glasner will work that way. 4-4-2 in their last 10, no losses in 4 overall, and they already beat Spurs this season. So at plus 153, it's worth a punt for me to back Palace against Spurs. So I think Spurs are going to have a tough time against Bodo Glimt to get a couple of their better players back. The side that doesn't lose at home on Thursday as well. So let's keep on opposing Big Ange.
I agree with most of that. I just thought the price was a little bit too short on Palace at plus 153. Yeah, I like this. Palace haven't won in 5 league games. I know they won in the FA Cup semi, but 5 league games without a win. And Spurs, for all that they are travelling to Norway and back, the second string is okay enough to maybe get them a result. And it's just I just don't like these kind of games where there's a lot of guesswork, because you're guessing what levels of motivation Palace are going to have because they've got the FA Cup final. Players aren't going to want to play at 100 because they don't want to get injured and maybe miss the final. Spurs players, if they get to the Europa final, then there might be some Spurs players in the backups that are pushing really hard to try and get into the starting 11. You just don't, like Bissouma or Sarr, who've not featured much recently. So, I saw the price, and if the markets were flipped, if you were getting Palace as the outsiders, then yes, I'd be interested, but can't be having Palace as favourites.
Okay, let's shift forward to La Liga. Man, we spent a lot of time in the Premier League. It is a consequence. Let me start that again. It is a consequential El Clásico. It's Barcelona and Real Madrid. Barcelona's on 79 points, Real Madrid on 75. Really, if Barcelona go on and win this game, then they win La Liga. Barcelona have a little bit of a difficult schedule to come after this. They play Villarreal and they play Athletic Club Bilbao. Injuries pending. Those are still 2 difficult games. Real Madrid, a straightforward schedule moving forward. Barcelona lost 4-3 to Inter in the Champions League, as we documented on Tuesday. They haven't kept a clean sheet in 4. They've gone over in 6 of 7. Both teams have scored in 6 of 7. Koundé and Balde both missed out in the Champions League. That was consequential as well. 46 goals at home and a 50.19 expected goals is ridiculous. Real Madrid, their story's been injuries at the back. Rudiger, Alaba, Camavinga out, Mendy's out, Carvajal, Militao being out forever. Thankfully for them, they still have virtually all of their attacking players available. Head-to-head against Barcelona, Barca have won the last 4. Real Madrid haven't kept a clean sheet in 8. They've gone over 2.5, surprise, surprise, in 10 of 10. Both teams have scorers played, in 6 of 7. They played last 2 weeks ago, Copa del Rey final, 3-2. It was lively, it was emotional, it was controversial. Before that, the games finished 5-2, 4-0, 2-1, 3-2, 4-1, 2-1. The goal total set in this one at 3.5. Have at it, Jake. What's your play in El Clásico this weekend?
I mean, we've just got to back the overs. Anybody who watched the Barcelona versus Inter game last midweek, what you're going to watch this weekend is going to be exactly the same. Exactly the same. Barcelona play exactly the same every time they take to the field, and Real Madrid are in a position where they have to win. They have to go and win. And that means that they're going to be even more intent, and probably they'll be licking the lips even more so, having seen what Inter Milan did to them. Because defensively, they, as you mentioned, Madrid have got a lot of injuries, but Barca, they have a feel that Eric Garcia at right back, I know he should have probably scored 2 in midweek, but he's far from a good right back. And Gerard Martin, good delivery, but again, he's very, very gettable from an attacking perspective. So I think this is just going to be a wide open, end-to-end game, lots of goals. Both teams are capable of scoring 2, 3, 4. Wouldn't be surprised if this ended 4-4, to be honest. And yeah, all the last 5 meetings have seen this bet win as well. 4-7, 4-5-5. That's the amount of goals that we've had in the last 5 meetings between these two teams. I think it's going to be the same. And obviously, you've got the tiredness factor as well for Barca, who played 120 minutes, and that could play into it as well defensively. So, yeah, I just think it's going to be a lot of fun. And obviously, both teams will see it as a great opportunity. Barcelona win, they'd pretty much won the title. Real Madrid playing against a tired Barcelona team who do look vulnerable, and all of a sudden they're back in the title race. So I think it's going to be a cracking game.
Similar thought process, Jake. I'm just going to straight up back Real Madrid over 1.5 goals at plus 116. That's where I'm getting a little bit more juice, quite frankly. I agree with all that you said. This was my favorite bet for the Copa del Rey final as well, and I have very little reason to change it. Allegri, it's going to be a tired Barcelona side. You're right, they're wide open. All of Real Madrid, their top attacking talent is available. They know what's on the line here. I think that they'll feel like they're just going to have to go to and outscore Barcelona. And so, yeah, anything to the total. I think all that's low. Plus 116. Real Madrid over a goal and a half at plus 116. No need to overthink this. Anything else in La Liga this weekend?
Yeah, the team that did me a massive favour last week against Real Madrid, they were 3-0 down, made it 3-2, which meant we had a nice winner on the handicap. Celta Vigo. I think we've got to back him again this week, playing at home to Sevilla. They've won 10 of the 17 home games this season. The process has been really strong as well. 1.5 expected goals for, 1.1 against. They were good in that defeat at the Bernabeu. They're 7th in the league. They have 5 teams breathing down the necks because they hold the final Europa League qualifying spot. So every game, even especially the home games, given how good they've been at home, is vitally important. And they get Sevilla this week, who have extremely little to play for. They're 16th in the table. They're 6 points above the bottom 3. So they could still go down, but the rate at which teams in the bottom 3 are winning suggests that's highly unlikely. They're winless in 7. They've lost 5 of those last 7 as well, and just 2 wins in the last 14. 3 straight defeats away from home, and the process away from home on the season is very, very poor. Basically the flip of what Celta's. 1.1 expected goals for, 1.5 expected goals against. So I thought minus 124 for a home win was a little bit generous. I thought we should get closer to minus 140.
Anything else in La Liga, Jake?
Nope.
I'll run through 2 plays very quickly. I'm not sure it's being documented enough how good Valencia have been really in 2025. Such a poor start to the season. They haven't lost in their last 9, 5-4-0. They play Getafe at home, and you can get on side with Valencia at plus 103. Getafe, 4 losses in a row and losses of 5 in their last 6. They haven't scored in their last 3. They're missing 2 or 3 players through suspension as well. Arambari, Gignac, Rodriguez, all out. And go to Valencia, won 3 in a row at home, no losses in 7 at home in all competitions, just 1 loss in their last 11, 7-5-1 since the beginning of February, and 5-1-1 over that span. So Valencia is the side to back. Also, Villarreal away to Girona. Girona beat Mallorca 1-0 on Monday, but it was their first win in 12. Only Valladolid has been worse than Girona over that span, and their minus 12 goal differential is second worst as well over that span. Villarreal are only 3 points back of Athletic Club for 4th, so this is a must-win. They're 4-2-1 in their last 7, and the 2 games that they draw points, they went down a man in both, including a 3-0 loss to Celta Vigo, a team that you documented is playing on good form, but the sending off came early and the 3 goals came after. So, and their 30 points is the 3rd most away from home in La Liga this season. Pino Albiol both returning this weekend as well. So at plus 118, backing the away side works for me. Anything in Serie A this weekend? Like I said, nothing really jumping off the page. I do have maybe 1 half play, and I'll let you take it away and I'll build from there.
No, I'll send it right back to you. There's nothing that I liked on the board this week in Serie A. There's some good games, some important games. Lazio, Juventus, Milan, Bologna on the Friday, and Atalanta, Roma. So there's a lot of European qualification implications in those matches. But again, I thought all the prices looked pretty right. Very little value. I think if I was to lean, my favourite bet of the 3 would be Juventus on the handicap at Lazio, plus quarter of a goal, but no official bet.
Strong lean to Bologna on the draw no bet, the 0 handicap at plus 107. That was the number that jumped off the page. Bologna already beat AC Milan 2-1 this season, and Milan just playing out the stretch. And Bologna just 2 points out of 4th place. This is a big game for them, but they typically play low-scoring games to the under, so it wouldn't surprise me if this ended up in a push. They drew Juventus last time around. You have very limited time to continue to oppose Monza, So Udinese on the spread, minus a goal and a quarter at plus 111, or Monza under a quarter goal at plus 111. I'm fine with either one of those plays. Udinese have a full side, fully fit team. Monza, 6 losses, no wins in 15. No goals scored in their last 4, no clean sheet in 10. They only have 15 points on the season, 1 away win. Like, they're unspeakably bad. They're Valladolid, Southampton bad. So get on it while you can. And I'll actually back Roma on the handicap plus a half a goal. So a win or a draw does you well because Roma don't lose. They still haven't lost a Serie A game since December 3rd. They beat Fiorentina last week, 1-0. They're the hottest team in the league. And they're pushing for European football right now as well. No losses in 7 in all competitions. They've only scored 16 away, but their XG is north of 27. So they're not being rewarded for the process as well. And Atalanta, they've won 4 in a row now, or no losses in 4, I should say. But they're only 1-2-2 in their last 5 at home. They've been frustrating to watch after they got knocked out of the Champions League. I just think that this game, if it ends in a draw and it ends in a Roma winning bet, that's my favorite play of the bunch this weekend, is backing Roma. Let's wrap up by focusing on the Bundesliga this weekend. All of a sudden, Borussia Dortmund's put themselves in position to finish in the top 4. Who would have thought that even a couple weeks ago, Jake? Now they take on Leverkusen, who, by virtue of their draw with Freiburg last week, handed Bayern Munich the title, and Harry Kane mercifully, finally a trophy. Dortmund at Leverkusen. Is there a play to be made in that game or perhaps elsewhere across the Bundesliga?
Yeah, I think we've got to back Dortmund at the handicap. I think there's a few reasons why. Like I said, they've been really, really good since Kovac took charge, especially recently, but also the motivation is massively in their favour. And at this time of the season, I think that's hugely important. It's difficult to quantify in terms of pricing, but I do like I was surprised to see Dortmund such almost favoured to win at Leverkusen. But when you dig a bit deeper, the underlying data is fantastic. Since Kovac took charge, only Bayern Munich have collected more expected points, generated more expected goals than Dortmund. And in his 13 games, they've averaged 2.6 expected goals for per game and 1.3 expected goals against per game. Now that's like if they manage to sustain that over a full season, they would be in the title race for sure. And over the same period, Leverkusen have stalled big time. Like their attacking process is down at 1.5 expected goals for per game. Won just 2 of the last 6 home matches. They failed to score in 4 of those home games. And as you said, Dortmund desperately need a win. Leverkusen already guaranteed top 4. They're already guaranteed second. So in effect, they are, as we would say, on the beach. They've got nothing to play for. It might be a little bit of a celebration time. You don't know what's going to happen in terms of Xabi Alonso's future.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And their manager looks like he's on his way out. So
exactly. So there's not a lot that makes me want to be pro Leverkusen here. And like I said, Dortmund have been playing really, really well. So minus 107 for Dortmund plus 0 on the Asian handicap. And I just want to mention the goal line in the Bayern Gladbach game. Have you seen the state of that? 4.25. What an incredible goal line that is. Not confident to back over or under in that one, but I just wanted to highlight it because I just thought it's massive. We've not seen one of those for a while.
Yeah, in a dead rubber, really. It doesn't really mean anything at all. Any other plays in Bundesliga?
No, I just had that one.
Okay, let's continue to back Freiburg. They being full value. They're at Holstein Kiel, who have come away from back-to-back wins, but they're still second from the bottom. They still can't keep a clean sheet. Renberg, the midfielder, is suspended this game. 16.77 expected points at home is the worst. 4-1 and 10 at home overall. And they've conceded 37 at home. That's the worst by 5. And they take on a Freiburg team who's motivated and flying. They're 4th on 52 points, a point better than both Dortmund and 2 points better than Leipzig. They're coming off that 2-2 against Leverkusen that gave Bayern Munich the title. They won their 3 before that. And this team can score. They're 3rd best in terms of away expected point totals. And they've only scored 15 away goals, but their expected goals is north of 25. So Freiburg at plus 113 looks to be a good bet for me. And I'm going to go down fighting with Mainz. They've really struggled over the last little bit, but they're playing the bottom side in the Bundesliga in Bochum. You can back Mainz to win at plus 133. Bochum, no wins in 6. 13 points at home is the second worst. 19 points this season is just awful. They're bottom of the table by 5. Mainz haven't won a game in 7, but it's been a little bit of a difficult stretch, and they still have an outside shot of finishing anywhere between 4th and 6th. So Mainz haven't lost to Bochum in 6 meetings. Mainz has won 2-0 the last 2 meetings and are 5-1-0 in the last 6 times that they've played. So plus 133, I'll back Mainz. All right, time for our podium plays. The top 3 plays of the week for you are?
My favourite bet is over 4.5 bookings at minus 126 in Newcastle versus Chelsea. City win to 0 at plus 122 and Celta Vigo to beat Sevilla at minus 124.
Okay, let's go my favourite play of the week. Nottingham Forest to beat Leicester City to 0 at plus 125. Everton under half a goal at plus 153. And Real Madrid over 1.5 goals at plus 116. Those are our plays. You can follow along on social media. Wherever you listen or watch this podcast, please hit the like. Please subscribe to the Pinnacle family of podcasts as well. Good stuff, Jake. We'll know our Champions League finalists and Europa League finalists. Preview shows are to come, as well as finishing out the season that is across European football's top domestic leagues. He's Jake. I'm Gareth, and this has been episode 42 of Pinnacle FC.